Hey everyone, I'm Karen Walby Solomon, and welcome to What's IGN Crushing On, IGN Africa's official entertainment podcast. I'm your host, and I'm joined as always by my producer and editor Rebecca Barches. So this is a show where we discuss all things entertainment and pop culture with a new guest every week. We bring recommendations, news, and fun facts, sometimes touching on the more serious issues surrounding these topics. This week's guest is Shameez Patel Papathanasiou. Shameez is an engineer, an author, and an all-round fangirl. We spoke about her love for Mika, Tom Hiddleston, Supernatural, The Witcher, and so much more. Like, if you ever wanted to know about pop culture or hear like two fangirls fangirling, this is the ultimate episode for you.
Yeah, this would be the perfect podcast to actually listen to if you know nothing about pop culture. I was listening to this interview and I think there were two things I could identify with, and that was being short girl, and also becoming a fan of Taylor Swift. And
I'm loving this journey for you, Rebecca.
Oh, thank you.
It's taken me young 20 years.
What? It's taken you a young 20 years?
Years to get you into Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, I'm only just like going to explore this week. Okay, let's not get our hopes up here.
I'm excited for this.
Cool. But Shameez's journey is just brawls.
It's a bit hardcore for me. I mean, I don't know if I do, but it's girls. You can try that method. But I'm looking forward to Swiftie Rebecca.
Might take a while.
Out in the streets with like glitter on and
okay, yeah, this
catch
is
photos. I'm ready for this embroidering.
Yeah, it's so far off from who I actually am. So I love that you have this enthusiasm, but yeah, let's not get our hopes up here. Let's give it a chance.
Okay, so now here's our interview with Shameez. Hi Shameez, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I mean, I think that you knew this was coming because when I messaged you, I was just like, oh, when are we going to do this? I didn't even send you like the
I was waiting.
formal, would you like to, this is what my podcast is. I was just like, when are we going to have this conversation?
Since episode 1, I've been like, oh, I hope I'm on that list. I hope I can get on that list. I've got to be more interesting. I've got to tweet more interesting things.
But meanwhile, I've been following you for like 500 years. So like,
oh my goodness. I can't even remember how far back we've been following each other.
And it's so strange that we've like only met in person once and briefly.
FanCon, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I feel like I've known, I will talk about you like I know you, like we've known. Like,
that's how it feels.
But that is.
And when we met, I was quite awkward because I think I was probably in costume, and it's not a great first way to meet someone.
Oh, I was probably doubly awkward then because I think that was the year that I dressed up like Cheryl Blossom from Riverdale. And if I'm in a wig, I'm even more awkward.
I've been wearing like an Akatsuki cloak. I can't remember.
I
can't remember whatever it was.
Jamie was Josie from Josie and the Pussycats.
Yes.
And she came in like a
yes,
leotard.
I know. Yeah, no, I was extremely intimidated by her.
So actually next to her, people just thought I was a normal girl because I didn't think it really does what I was doing. So anyway, how have you been? How's
been good.
How's lockdown and stuff
overall
been for you and the family?
The first few months was incredibly hard because I didn't have my mom or anyone else, and obviously full-time job. Plus, I'm supposed to be doing my master's as well. Say supposed to. Keyword. But my kid she's turning 2 this week coming.
Oh, yay.
So she's just reached a stage where she can run and jump and talk, and she's got absolutely no fear. So I have to sort of follow her around the house. But with lockdown sort of easing up, we've had a bit of help, and my mom will visit during the day, sort of in the garden. And so it's been better. It's been good otherwise, though. How are you?
No, I'm fine. Like I seriously, like, other than losing my job, I've been like chilled. I mean, because I moved back
It's so
home.
terrible.
Because I moved back home, I've been around everybody, so it's been okay. I like, there's others that have had it worse than me. But
Your tweets about your mom is my favorite thing. So for that alone, I'm glad that she's given you some content
oh
to
God,
make me laugh.
she's the most chaotic. But yes, like, obviously, because I've been following you so long and I've known the stuff you've been tweeting about. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is Supernatural, because you see,
Okay.
I must admit, I've never seen Supernatural, and it's intimidating to me because there is just too many seasons. But I want to know, like, why do you think it had like the staying power to last as long as it did?
It's amazing. It's got like this incredibly strong cult following.
Mm,
And in the show, I don't know if you've heard anything about it other than the fact that, it's two handsome brothers who kill monsters in their spare
yeah,
time.
it's
Actually, full
basically
time. That's it. And they've been doing it for 15 seasons. They've died multiple times, saved each other multiple times. God is now involved. It's very blasphemous. Like, wow. I'm surprised that there hasn't been more outrage about it. So there's God and there's the devil and there's angels that have fallen, all sorts of things. But what sets them apart is how often they break the fourth wall and
is
sort of
it?
make the fans feel very seen. Yeah. And they tied into the story so cleverly. So they had this episode where this girl, I think her name was Becky actually, and she was, wherever they went, she was there, and she was like obsessing over them as Sam and Dean, and they're like, how do you know we are? And she's like, I've been reading the Supernatural books. Like, what? And there's a whole series of books written about their lives, and even before they do it, and they find out that it's been written by this prophet who's been having these dreams about them.
Oh wow.
And so because that exists, they end up going to a fan con, a supernatural con, and everyone's just dressed as Demon Sam and pretending to kill ghosts, and they're like, but we're the real Dean and Sam. Get it through. It was ridiculous.
Oh, I
And
love
then there
that.
was another episode where they sort of jump through a window, action scene, glass shatters, and then a director goes, cut, and refers to them by their real names, like Jensen, Jared. Okay, let's do that again. They're like, what? What's a Jared? What's a Padalecki? And and it also sort of ties into the story that they've been tricked and they've sort of entered an alternate, not universe, but just mentally. So I think it's those little things that sort of, it's made for the fans. They started making episodes just to make us giggle, and I think when 15 seasons later, you just want to know they'll be okay.
Yeah. So as I'm like listening to what you say, that like really leaned into the whole fan service thing, which
Yeah, definitely.
like I know from like fandom lies, like people always talk about it like it's like something wrong. But like, what do you think about fan service? Do you think, like, especially since you know the way you're talking about Supernatural, it's like making me think that it's a good thing to lean into to servicing your fans.
Absolutely. I mean, they're the ones that are watching it, that is
Yeah.
enjoying it. Why are you trying to do something they won't like if that's the majority of your viewers? I get that you want to be different, but most of the time when you try and do something completely different, it upsets people. So, oh, yay for you. You were controversial and surprising, but it was terrible.
Yeah. And I think that it like
So,
I don't know. I don't know what my point of reference for this is, but I think sometimes when they try to not be fan servicey, and like go against. It just fails badly because it seems more bitter than it feels like,
Yes,
natural
it's like they
character
just looked for a
progressions.
plot twist so that they didn't come across as boring or predictable.
Mm. But I see it a lot with like shipping and stuff. Like people don't like a ship, they'll be like, it's fan service. It's fan service. And like, yeah, but sometimes the
Yeah, I
fans
know.
see.
Yes, like Rio and Beth,
Oh, okay. This is from
season
Good Girls.
2, Good Girls. After season 2, I was like, come on, Rio and Beth, it needs to happen. And I don't know what's going on. Then Dean's back in the picture, and Dean.
Yeah, it's like sometimes the fans know what is best for the characters. Sometimes the showrunners
We're so
don't.
invested.
Yeah,
We're
characters
so
change
deeply
and they
okay.
grow.
Although I will say with Supernatural, some of the fanfic is it's very interesting, considering that they're brothers.
Yes, I was like, isn't there like
Yeah, no, they cross a few lines. They're very sweet fans, most of them.
I've seen that show.
As Tom Hiddleston explains his fans, he says most of his fans are sweet. They're mostly benign. But not all of them. So the biggest ship, I think, from Supernatural is Dean and Castiel.
Yes, yeah.
Destiel,
Yeah,
which is
Destiel.
fine, which is okay, because, I mean, sure, human and fallen angel, I don't see an issue with that.
And they're both really cute. Like,
They're so sweet. They're all cute. Everyone in that show is cute.
and
Except
now,
that,
so
the
Jensen
monsters.
Ackles has now gone to The Boys.
Yes! I'm so excited.
Or has he not started yet?
No, it's for season 3.
Oh,
So
okay.
the Supernatural creator and the Boys creator is the same person, Eric Kripke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I assume, I don't know, that he saw that in Jensen already during Supernatural while he was doing The Boys, and he figured, well, he'll be free after this next few episodes. May as well pick him up.
So what is The Boys like? So tell me about The Boys.
The Boys is awesome. I mean, I'm a huge Marvel fan, as I'm sure you know. So I'm, team superheroes, and suddenly I watch the show that's bashing superheroes. And it was a fresh take. It was definitely a fresh take. As much as I love them, it's also a realistic take in a sense that if anyone had that much power, they'd probably be a bit of an asshole. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. They'd probably be a terrible person. And they've made it funny. It's a lot of dark humor. The main character, I can't even remember his name right now. I want to say Yui. I think it's Yui. He is so irritating, but it works.
Is that the guy?
All the villains, even though they're... Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I found that out later. I was like, how did I not notice that immediately? Just based on his face.
But you were saying, sorry, yeah, all the villains?
All the villains, I mean, they're horrible people, but there's also a part of you that's like, I kind of like them because they're so funny or interesting. Maybe I've got a type.
Yeah, I think we all have a type, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I think I may have followed you because of Klaus many, many moons ago.
Oh, God, my problematic fave. So what else have you been watching lately, then?
I finished Emily in Paris.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I don't know if I'm going to, but...
I found that it was excellent for background noise. So I put it on while I was doing work and while I was writing. And it's not like it has a solid story, so you don't need to focus. You just look up occasionally, enjoy Gabriel's face, and carry on doing whatever you were doing. And then what else have I been watching? I just finished The Witcher. I know it came out ages ago, but I never got to it.
I haven't seen it.
And
I watched the premiere, and I was like at an event watching the premiere, and I got ill halfway through.
Oh,
and
no.
I just never carried on.
Now you just associate with feeling ill.
And I just haven't watched it since. I don't know. But how was it?
We tried watching it one night when it was released, but it was, I don't know if it was beginning of lockdown or what was happening, but we were exhausted and we fell asleep both nights that we tried watching it, and then we sort of gave up for a while. And then I saw season 2 getting promoted. I thought, okay, let's give this a try. And we watched it, and it's excellent. I am almost upset that I was not part of the buzz when it was just released, because I love being part of the buzz, obviously. Henry Cavill is oh, he is too much as The Witcher. I've never been attracted to him as himself. I mean, he's handsome. I get that.
Yeah.
But as The Witcher, there's like, it's a completely different story. He just grunts. And I'm like, yes, okay, I cook, I clean. Sure. No, he does an excellent grunt and cursing. I'm not going to obviously say the word, but it's worth it just for that.
Oh, no, that sounds like my type too. Yeah, I should definitely get into that at some point.
It's just so much, like very subtle. It's not really slapstick humor, but there's so many laugh out loud moments, which is weird considering, the genre almost. But because his character is so ridiculously grumpy, you end up laughing at every grunt, because he's just so fed up. He's so fed up. There's one episode where all he wants, he goes through all this effort because he just wants to sleep. And you're like,
relatable. So
I
relatable.
feel seen. Yeah. So I like that they sort of managed to do that, which is the same with Supernatural. It's scary, but it's also extremely comedic. My favorite thing.
I want to know. Okay, I know you've tweeted about this before, but like maybe talk to this. So tell me about the origins of your Mika love. Mika?
It's
Mika?
Mika.
Am I saying right?
Mika. It's Mika.
Sorry, Mika.
I don't know if I've actually ever tweeted the origin. I was in grade 9, so I was 13, 14. And I was going through a bit of a rough time, as grade 9s do. It's like you really think you've got the world's problems on your shoulders. But it's just like maths is coming up and you can't visit your friend. And I cried a lot during exams. I was that kid that sort of I was an overachiever. So every time exam time came, I felt a lot of pressure. And one morning, I was literally just like crying before school. And we put the TV on, and we had DSTV at the time. And I don't know what those channels were called. I can't remember. But one of the music channels, it's not MTV, one of the newer ones. Yeah. And Big Girls, You Were Beautiful came on by Mika. And he's just dancing in the street with all these women in like corsets, and he's having the best time. And I was like, why am I feeling happy? And I obviously Googled him. I listened to his album, and the entire album, Life in Cross in Motion, was just so uplifting. And the lyrics were fairly dark, which again, my favorite thing, if you can mix darkness and light, excellent, chef's kiss for you. And I am an obsessive person by nature, which I'm sure that's come across very clearly on my Twitter feed. And so I sort of just latched onto him during that time when I needed something uplifting to get me through exams, and I never let go.
I love that.
I'm nothing if not loyal. Poor man.
But what is he up to now? Is he still making music?
He does. He takes his time. So he's also got like a cult following. So he's got Italy and France and the UK wrapped around his fingers. Like, that is his target audience, and it's the strangest audience as well, because so we went to his concert, which was obviously the best time of my life.
I can imagine.
And the crowd ranges from children, like I'm talking 5-year-olds who know all of the lyrics, even though they're Italian, so they know all the English lyrics and they have no idea what they're singing. And then it ranges to like women in their 60s. And they're huge fans. They're like front row screaming for Mika. They're the fans that follow him around Italy. Like, the one woman I spoke to had been to 83 of his shows.
What?
83! She was German. They just sort of follow him around Europe, and they book the cheapest accommodation or no accommodation at all. I mean, that night, I told my husband, like, can we just go and look at the venue before we go to the hotel room? So we walked past the venue, and there were tents put up the night before. Gosh. I was like, I'm going to be at the back. He's like, we're not sleeping outside. I will queue with you tomorrow morning, but we are not sleeping in the streets. Okay, fine. And they're such intense fans. It was an excellent moment for me to finally be around fans I wouldn't say of the same level because I'm certainly less than that. Maybe not. I did fly to Italy for it. But they were all incredibly nice. We had the best time. And afterwards, he selected 100 people to come and talk to him inside the venue, the villa. So it's the same villa that Gwen Stefani had the Cool song recorded in.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yes, so we went into that villa, and he wanted to personally tell the fans what he's going to be doing for the next few years, which I think was also just so adorable for him to do. So he told us that he'll basically be mostly a judge on The Voice and X Factor. Also, I think it's X Factor Italy and The Voice France, or the other way around. Then he had a little TV show in Italy, like a reality show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. It was all in Italian, no subtitles. Literally just made for that group of fans. And then he'll probably release another album in about a year. I don't know. He does one every 3 years. He really takes his time.
But that's good, though. You want to also feel as if they're putting their all in. Like, they're not just releasing it like they're a machine or something like that.
Yeah, no, and his music has been getting... Personally, I think it's been getting so much more personal. And I think it's because he's finally reached a stage where he's comfortable with who he is, and he's comfortable with his fans. He's not really chasing new fans so much. So he feels almost more comfortable to share the way that he wants to. And you can feel it. You can feel that he's not chasing a commercial song. This is the exact song that he wanted to make. And sometimes the song makes absolutely no sense. But you're like, you know what, Mika? I know that you enjoyed making this. I can feel it.
But he does have a good energy to him. Like, as you were saying about the fans, like, I can imagine he has, like, the loveliest fans.
They're so sweet.
Because he has that kind of, like, I don't want to say pure, but like, you know what I mean? Like, wholesome-y type image.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I mean, even for the fans, when we got there, one of them started handing out stars, like manually cut out stars that they had cut out and painted yellow. Like,
so cute.
Thousands of them. I don't know who stands up cutting these stars, because they were all cut in different shapes. So I know it was hand cut. And they handed it out, and they were like, okay, remember when he sings that line? We're all looking up at the stars. You got to hold up the star. Like, okay, yes, I'm
adorable.
there. And I mean, it's not like he asks for these things. And when they do it, you can see he's just overwhelmed by the fact that so many people love him. I don't even think he believes that people love him. Like, I think it takes him by surprise. There's a humbleness to it, which is also just so endearing.
The only thing I've ever been given at a concert is like a church flyer at Lady Gaga. Like, turn or burn type flyer. That's the most I've ever gotten.
Oh my goodness. I missed the Lady Gaga concert. I was so upset, especially during that time. I was attending like every single concert that I could be at. My parents were like, why don't you just ask your boss to put CompuTicket's name on your payslip? Just to deposit it straight to them. Like, we're getting so bitter about it.
When you were like, no, what is the one concert when you were like, I've never seen so many brown people before? Was it John Legend?
Yes. Come on. I mean, the aunties and uncles were there. They were jazzing. Like, it was excellent. And he knew. He was basically jazzing on stage. I think he's actually deep in his soul. He's part of the South African community.
But he loves South Africa. He's been here a few times.
Yes, it was the first time I saw him, but he has been here, I think, 3 or 4 times.
It was my first John Legend concert too, and I was like, it was very nice.
It was nice. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you lose your mind, scream your heart out, and collapse when you get home because you've just felt too many feelings. It was just a really good show.
But I think there's also something to be said about like where concerts are held. Like having it at Grand West is such a nice, intimate setting. I went to watch Lionel Richie and he was at the stadium and it just wasn't right. The stadium was just too big.
If you're in the seated area at the stadium, you're just too far away. I was in the seats for Bieber, One Direction, both times was not my choice, although I will say I enjoyed both shows. And Eminem, I was sort of on the side, like the seats closest to the stage. That was still fine. But the seats right at the back, you don't really get that feeling, because I like the feeling of a concert. I like feeling everyone around me screaming, wooing, crying if it's a sad song. I want to know this song broke your heart. Like, show me that you know all of the lyrics. And and yeah, I like seeing that. And so that's why well, I haven't been to a show in a while, but when I do go to a show, I like to stand. I like to be amidst the big fans, the crazy fans, especially the fans that know, like, you got to pee before you get to your spot because you're not leaving for the next 6 hours.
The only time, I'm trying to think of a time when I was in the stands and it was Mariah Carey, it was cool because everybody there just like super knew what they were there for. And everybody was just like in their feelings.
Oh my word. And just singing their hearts out, I imagine.
Yeah. No, but I agree with you, but about standing. Have you ever gone to a concert by yourself?
I'm sure I have, but I suppose I'm one of those people, especially if I'm a big fan, I end up finding another crazy fan. Like, I don't know, fans like latch onto each other like two losers, one stone. And we're just like, yes, finally somebody that understands me. And we just like geek out, like word vomit, like our history with this band, like why we love them and all the words that we know. I've always had fun. Yeah, I always sort of meet people.
I do. I miss concerts. It's weird because I'm not a crowd person. I don't like crowds.
Same.
But concerts, I don't mind.
That's exactly me. It's the one time I don't mind having people like push against me on either side of me. It's okay. I would love to be on the rail because at least that means my front area I can breathe and I can see because I'm so stupidly short. If there's one person standing in front of me, everything's ruined. So I'm that person that gets there early. I queue if possible so that I can be right in front, holding that railing, sometimes holding up a poster so that they know, like, that's the fan we should be slightly afraid of.
My friend, she said that she left at like when she went to One Direction, but she's like a hectic One Directioner. She's like in the fanfic, she has friends, like some of her best friends she met through One Direction, but she's from
I wished I was part of the fandom just because I love fandom so much, but they just didn't do it for me.
But she's from PE and she said she flew, I think she was in high school or something when they were here, and then she flew down to Cape Town and she stayed by one of the other friends that she met like on Twitter.
Wow.
I was like, okay, wow. And then she was like, then they took a train in the middle of the night. Everything about this, like my alarm bells were going off.
Yeah.
They took a train in like the middle of the night to go
man.
They took a train to town, walked to the stadium.
At night?
At night, in the middle of the night. I was just...
Wendy gave them a shout out.
Yeah, no, I'm glad they're still alive.
For Coldplay, I remember for Coldplay, I skipped one of my classes and a compulsory tutorial. I had to hustle, one of my friends were like, I need you to sign for me. They're like, why? What's wrong? I have to go to the Coldplay concert. They're like, it's tonight. Yeah, no, I know. I need to go in queue. Get with the program. And I took a jammy to get to the train station, to take a train to town to walk to the stadium, obviously, but all worth it. I was front row holding that rail. Chris Martin was like just over there.
Oh, can you
stretch? If I just stretched like a lot, we'd probably have fallen in love. I don't know. No one can prove me wrong. So
the best thing about being short is also that you can like move through the crowd. I love
Most
that.
people don't mind. Yeah, so especially someone really tall, they look at you like you're like a puppy. So they're like. They look down at you and you can see they're frowning and they're like, oh, shame. You definitely can't see.
Yeah, no, come through here.
Poor little me. Poor little me. And they're like, you can stand in front of me. It's okay. I take full advantage in those moments.
When I went to the Ariana Grande concert, like I was alone, obviously. So, and because I'm also small, I could like move in between the people because everyone was like in groups, so they didn't really notice like this one person like
Yes. I can't believe you saw
literally
Ariana. That's amazing.
because I'm obviously used to like the stadium as the biggest venue I've been to. So I was like, it's not that far you have to like inveigle your way. But at this stadium, it was humongous. And as much as I was
Oh
moving forward, I
man.
wasn't anywhere close to being anywhere
Oh,
near her. She was still like a
but
magic person.
I'm sure she still had that voice that just like traveled across the crowd though.
No, she did definitely. That was the
Oof,
that
I would
that was the
definitely go
best
see
part.
her, even though I only know like 3 songs.
But I'm also like that. I'm like, oof, if I just want to see people
I
because
know. I think I told you, like just like that vibe of everyone being so excited
yeah,
and singing their hearts out, and it gives me a chance to sing as loudly as I want to, with no one actually hearing what I sound like, except when I listen to my concert videos afterwards. Absolute regret. But at that moment, it is so cathartic, and I mean, if it's a sad song, I'm gonna cry. Like
oh,
warning you up front. Even my husband, he was like, he put on his video camera before Mika came out. And he was like, hey, we're at the Mika concert, sort of documenting it. And I
mm.
was like, listen, don't point that camera at me when he comes out. He's like, why? It's like, don't do it. And Mika comes out and he points it at me. He's like, oh, you're crying. What did I tell you? Been waiting for this for 10 years. What did you expect?
It's just the
I
emotions
don't
of
remember.
it. Like
It's just,
everything is surged like so much higher. Like you
everything's so
there,
heightened.
you've been
Yeah.
waiting. There's like a millions of other people around you. It's loud. It's there.
And maybe other people are also crying because I know when someone else
Yes.
cries, I get the weepies as well. I was at the script once, and
So into the script.
I love them. I love them. And I think, which song was it? One of their saddest songs. And this girl next to me just sort of bundled herself into a ball on the floor. But she had warned me before, and she told me, I'm going to cry for this song, and this song. And then she just started crying, like on cue. I was like, that's kind of impressive. Um,
Oh my
but I can't judge her. I can't judge her. I've cried I don't think I cried at the script. I did cry at Coldplay and The
God.
Fray.
I went to the script with my sister, but I didn't really know their songs that much. I knew like 2 or 3. But it was just such a lovely vibe. And they were like shooting glitter out
It's
of
also Danny
yes, he's
O'Donoghue,
so
the lead
cute.
singer. He's so charming and
Mm.
charismatic on stage. I enjoy his stage presence quite a lot.
I was a fan after that. I was like, this is love. I went to John Bon Jovi with my sister also,
Awesome.
another person, and we were like Golden Circle, and they played one of their ballads. And I don't know if I was like PMSing or what, but that song reminded me of Klaus and Caroline, and I started crying. So it's not even reminded me of myself, man. It reminded me of my ship. And then my sister's like, why are you
Oh, I
crying? I'm
can't
like,
breathe.
I don't know. We just love each other.
You're gonna trigger my asthma. Caroline, oh goodness. Just the power of writing, eh? Like if you think about the power of writing, that these writers have made us so invested in someone else's fictional relationship that
Exactly.
we're crying for them. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
And I wonder at that point if Caroline had even looked at him twice. Then I was
No, yeah, no. We just knew. You felt it in your
I just
bones every
knew
time they were on screen.
yes, I just knew it.
On
Fans
Bon
love it.
Jovi.
Okay, so wait, let's talk about like your journey to becoming a Taylor Swift fan. Like,
Oh my goodness, that was so. I was actually like, I hate to admit it, but I was part of the haters.
mm,
And at some point, I questioned myself, like, why? Why
mm,
am I part of the haters? And it was like, oh, in my mind, Taylor was just this victim, this
yeah,
basic, blonde, beautiful, privileged girl, you
mm,
know? And she sort of just keeps winning. And you're like, what's the fuss? I don't understand it. All the fans are mostly white girls as well.
yeah,
Um, I realized that is such a bitter point of view. And eventually I just became indifferent to her. So for many years, I was just indifferent. When she released a good song, like Shake It Off or whatever,
mm,
I enjoyed it. But I never went searching for her music. And then I was on Twitter and so many big fans that I follow. Obviously, Tash, Kirsty, a whole bunch of other people that just tweet about Taylor Swift all day.
Mm.
And I was like, I need to understand, because as I told you, I love fandoms.
Yeah.
I really love it when people love things. So I wanted to understand, and I think Tash gave me her recommendations of which order I should listen to the albums in. I listened to every single song 3 times, because, you can't judge a song after the first listen.
Yeah.
I listened to it 3 times, and on the 3rd time I read the lyrics as well, just to get a sense of her songwriting, which is also something a lot of the fans keep mentioning, that she's such an excellent songwriter. And then, I started catching myself singing after like every album. I had favorites. I was like, oh, it's getting to the 3rd listen. I'm really looking forward to getting to this one specifically. And yeah, I guess I'm a Swiftie. I don't know. I would 100% go and see her if she came.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Would I cry? Probably for about 5 songs, I would say. I mean, she's got some very sad songs, and I would certainly just cry for no reason other than the fact that I know that she was sad when she wrote it.
I don't know. I was very interested watching your journey, because now I was a diehard Swiftie, like a hectic. I think it was before my I had a
remember
whole,
that.
I had a Tumblr page. I was like hectic into it, and then it got to like the election point when she didn't choose a side type thing.
Yes.
And I obviously watched a documentary since. And I just cooled on her so much, because I started seeing the intersectionality of it. And I was
so the privilege.
Yeah, I was like, I always related to her because we're the same age. I feel like we've got the same type of emotions. We get kind of obsessed with the guys that we like the same way. And then I was like, but we
I've certainly got the same taste in men as she does.
Yes, you do.
I was so shook that day when they released those photos of her and Tom Hiddleston kissing. My friends, my poor friends, they messaged our friend group. They're like, has Shams seen it yet? Guys, I don't know if we should tell her. And I was like, what's going on? They're like, Shams, just sit down. We've got something to show you. They sent me these photos. I was like, no, it can't be. It can't be. He can't just be one of them.
Do you know that Halsey had a similar thing to you, with that? But no, it's with Hiddleston, with Harry Styles. She was she used to tweet fangirl stuff, we need to get Harry away from Taylor Swift, and how she loves
my
Taylor.
Goodness. That's it. Yeah, I mean, I love Taylor as well, and I can definitely see why anyone would fall in love with her. I watched the documentary. Yeah. She's a darling. I still feel very heartbroken at their breakup, and the one song that she wrote about him, it's almost like their relationship didn't matter. And I'm deeply hurt. Yeah. I'm deeply hurt that anyone would want to break up with Tom Hiddleston, because he's a sweet, beautiful baby, and no one should ever hurt him, obviously. I stand by what I said.
After listening to that song, I feel like he has a little bit of F-boy energy about him.
Oh no, he definitely has a little bit. He definitely has a little bit, but just enough, that amount. F for fun.
F for fun. Sure.
Oh, man, did I bring up Tom Hiddleston? We should not have gone down this road. It's not healthy. It's not good. My poor husband.
So, okay, wait. So I also just wanted to ask you before we can go. Tell me about this A Court of Thorns and Roses books. I've seen these books on my timeline for freaking years. And
So I stopped reading a few years ago, for leisure at least. I think I was just overwhelmed with work, and I think I probably got introduced to Netflix at that stage. And I was averaging, I don't know, maybe 2 books a year. And it almost felt a little bit like a duty.
Yeah.
I felt like I should be reading, so I would read. And then lockdown happened, and I was at home all the time, often chasing my kid around the house. And sometimes she plays by herself, but not long enough for me to take out my laptop and do anything productive, like work or masters or whatever. but I could check Twitter. So I would sort of check Twitter while she's running around. And it also became I felt very unproductive. And I thought, I may as well read. My cousin is like, sent me a book and she's like, try this one. And I had such a nice time. It was The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. It's a rom-com. Your typical enemies to lovers trope, slow burn, lots of tension. There's a movie coming. Robbie Amell is going to be playing the lead guy. And what's her name? Lucy Hale.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Robbie
They'll be playing
Amell is in everything.
Look, I'm very upset about the casting because in The Hating Game, about maybe 472 times she mentions how flipping tall this guy is. He's a giant. He's so tall. He makes me feel so small. He can't fit in the car.
I know you would have cast him
tall. Robbie, I'm not saying anything. Actually, I did cast someone. I cast Liam Hemsworth.
Oh, okay.
No, I cast Liam Hemsworth because he suited it better. And the guy has dark hair and blue eyes. And look, in my mind, 1.9 is if you're a very tall guy. Sorry to most South African men. Maybe take that out. And
no, keep
so
it
Robbie
in.
Robbie Amell is like 1.82 or 3, which is, I mean, it's above average, but not if being tall is part of the character's personality.
Okay, but then again, Lucy Hale is very short.
Not really. She's like almost 1.6.
But she's tiny.
She's dainty, I think. I think it's because I've got a skewed vision because I'm 1.52 and my husband is 1.93. So that was the height difference I was picturing whenever she mentioned this big height difference between them. There's like one sexy scene where he like lifts her up against the railing, like on top of a railing, and he's like, come up to my level for a second, you know, because she's so bloody short. Oh, it's very sexy. And now I'm like, well, the difference between Lucy and Robbie's not actually that much, but maybe she'll wear flats the whole time.
Because in Katie Keene, she looks freaking tiny the entire time.
She is small. She's adorable. She is so cute. Oh, anyways, I keep going off topic. And I got back into reading, and then another friend of mine was like, if you're enjoying romance, try A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I was like, this is a fantasy. I'm not yet ready for fantasy. I'm still doing light reads. You know, I've just come back into the reading world, doing rom-coms. And she was like, just read it. I was like, okay, fine. It's a trilogy, quite long, each book. I think they're like averaging 400, 500 pages each. Sure. And I read all 3 books in the space of like a week or 2. It feels a bit like a fever dream. I was written in first person. I swear at one stage I thought I was Feyre, which is the protagonist. It's basically based on, so Feyre is a human, and they've got a wall that divides the humans from the fairies. Faeries. And this sort of describing the fairies as being these evil people or evil fairies. And it's very Beauty and the Beast in the beginning. Very hunted. Oh my God, I've forgotten how to use words. It's very Hunger Games in the beginning because she's this brunette. She's kind of pretty. She's hunting for her family because everyone's poor and sad. And then she kills a fairy and this beast shows up and he's like, now I have to take you prisoner because you've killed a fairy. And she's a prisoner of his, and obviously there's sort of like a love story forms. That's the first book. And I was like, yes, I love Tamlin. He is this beautiful golden beast. Well, he can turn into a beast, but he's a man, obviously. And then I jumped into book 2 and she just turned everything on its head. I'm not going to give any spoilers because it's insane. And it's basically fairy smut.
Oh, love it.
I'm being honest. It is excellent. I mean, there's a lot of action. There's quite a bit of humor. I enjoyed all 3 books. And then I found out that there was a 4th book, which doesn't make sense because it's a trilogy. But the 4th one's a sort of a novella. It's like a Christmas bonus. So it was literally called A Court of Frost and Starlight. Very Christmassy. And it was terrible. It was about nothing. I think for 4 chapters they were just opening presents. And
Oop, a
And I was
fanfic.
like, yeah, nice. She wrote her own fanfic. I couldn't believe it. And apparently there's going to be another 3. So I hope the next 3 are good because I don't want it to taint the first 3. But it's a fun thing to read. Weirdly enough, it gets shelved as young adult, which, I mean, okay, I guess young adults do have sex and things, but it was very raunchy. I did not read that type of thing as a young adult.
But the young adult, like, supernatural stuff is all, like, very,
Very
like,
intense. It's very intense. Yeah, it's not just like, oh, they hooked up. It's like, no, they hooked up. And now they're mates for life because of a magical bond.
So you said you, like, started writing fanfic after reading this.
Oh my goodness. Well, I wrote one fanfic because so the character that I mentioned at the beginning, Tamlin, the beast man, they villainize him. They vilify him. Is that the word? They vilify him so much in book 2, and I think it's unjust. And then in book 3, he sort of redeems himself. Well, I think he redeems himself because he saves them like 4 times. And by the end of book 3, this, I'm not going to say it, but this major character dies, and he ends up saving the person. And it's a whole big deal. Put that in your spoilers because that is a spoiler.
Okay.
And then in the 4th little novella, I was like, okay, no, it's fine. Tamlin, he did something good. He'll just be on his own and have his own happy ending. No, in the 4th novella, they keep talking about what a horrible person he is. And then they're like, yeah, but you remember you still have to do business with him. And he goes there and he's like, yeah, he's not eating, he's not sleeping, but I don't care. I hate him. It's like, the guy's like, he's literally suicidal and you're still being such a prick about it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to write Tamlin's happy ending. So I can say what I want about... Yeah, look, I can say what I want about Sarah J. Maas, but she was the first author to make me write fanfic, so... I sat down that day. I was like, I'm going to sit down. I'm just going to write a quick thing. Just a quick little scene, just to show Tamlin's good. He's all good. And as I started writing, I couldn't stop. And after a few hours went by. I was like, okay, stretched. I was like, okay, friends who know that I read A Court of Thorns, here's your Tamlin fanfic. It's 10,000 words long.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
word. What have I done? What happened?
Please tell me you put chapters in here.
I did. Okay. It's like 11 chapters. And I'm never going to do that again because I was like ill by the time I was finished. I was like, what am I doing? Why can I not stop writing about Tamlin? He's not even my own character. If I'm going to write, at least write my own novels.
I can't even imagine.
And I felt better.
It is. Afterwards. It's honestly like a little, like a balm that you put on.
Yes.
Because I've shipped so many doomed ships in my lifetime. And I swear the only thing that has gotten me through this has been fanfic.
Yes.
If I didn't have fanfic, I don't know what I would have done.
I tweeted about my just being so upset with Tamlin's ending and about the fanfic, and this girl that I don't think she's been following me for very long, but she saw that tweet and she was like, she's so upset. She can't believe it. And I was like, I can send you my fanfic if you want. And she read it. Like, I think she messaged me at like 4 a.m. in the morning. She's like, I've been up reading. Thank you for this. I can finally rest. It was so sweet. She like had numbered points. There were like 10 points. She's like, I really like this. I really like this. This was hilarious. I was like, oh, you're so kind.
Gotta love
Made it totally worth it.
I messaged my friend. I was like feeling a bit like, I don't know if I was PMSing or what this week. And I was like, yeah, I know when I'm like really sad, if I'm like going deep into like all my old favorite fanfics that I like to read, like the ones with like 40 chapters.
Oh, wow.
Well, not
that's a novel.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
a full
other
novel.
people's. Yeah, okay, no, okay. I've read so many ones that are like super long and could be novels. Like I have a weird enough, I became friends with the writer of this one fanfic. Well, we're friends now, but back then I obviously didn't know her. She was like a famous fanfic writer in the fandom, and
That's awesome.
and this was like 2012, and she had this story. It was obviously a classic hairline story, but it was a
Obviously.
full human one. But like she would release one a week, like a chapter a week or chapter every couple of
Oh,
days, and then she'd be
oh
like,
my goodness.
I'm gonna publish it at like say 3 p.m. But now she was in Chicago. And so I worked out the time difference from like Chicago to South Africa. And then I recently started a new job and I was at the job late and it was the time that I knew the chapter was coming out.
Oh, that
And
is
it
hilarious.
was like a meeting or office party or something, and there was enough space and I was sitting like under a desk. And then the chapter came out because I was checking my email all the time, waiting for this girl to release this
Yeah.
chapter. And I was like under the desk reading this chapter of this fanfic hours because I needed to know what was going to happen next.
I hope one day I write something that will make someone that excited to see what happens next.
Working
Oh my
out
goodness, that
time
is
difference, man. Like I don't even know if I'd
that is amazing.
over
That
fanfic
is
again.
amazing. But you also used to wake up at like 2 a.m. for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no.
I used to have to
When
meet you.
when I fandom hard. That's
Oh,
why
same.
it's like it's all or nothing.
Oh, me too. Yes, it's extremely exhausting. Very satisfying, but so tiring.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like, oh, heart, just relax, just be cool, be cool.
I was like, I don't think I was trying to, I'm obviously not dressing up for Halloween this year because I'm not going anywhere. But usually when I
Yeah.
dress up, I'm like, what have I been obsessing over this year? And I was like, I've watched so much, obviously during lockdown, done a lot, read a lot and stuff, but there's nothing that stands out for me as being something that has been, this thing has like
Yes.
been my like taken up my 2020, like the way you talking about like a quote of
Yes, yeah,
like
that's definitely been the obsession of the year.
yeah, it's like something that I'm willing to read fanfic over, like that I'm trawling the internet for fan art for.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Uh, I'm planning a Loki costume. Obviously, I've never done it. I feel like I have to just because of who I am as a person. So I'm planning it for like next year Comic-Con or something. Um, I just feel like it's meant to happen.
yeah. Actually, you're right. It's a good time to start working on next year's because next year we're going to have two Comic Cons.
Mm.
So there's plenty of time.
And how dare I? And plus, by next year, I think there'll maybe be a little bit more Loki series buzz as well.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh my goodness, can you imagine when that show gets released? Can you just imagine my state of being? I think I'm going to have to disable my Twitter. They started, because Tom Hiddleston, let me not refer to him by his first name as if we're buddies, he he posted a video months ago of him jumping and landing, like a fight scene with a green screen behind him, and he said like Loki's back. But that was just before all the lockdowns and things happened. So I think it's most likely one of those shows that's going to be delayed for a while. Because they've got a few things lined up before Loki.
Yes, and I saw that they recently cast like Sasha Lane in a role, which makes me think that they haven't like properly started.
Yeah, and they haven't released any news about it. All we know is that Loki is Loki causing trouble, traveling through time at like key events in history and just stirring. When he's doing what he does best, he stirs. I am so excited. I think someone needs to take my phone away from me that night because my thoughts should not go on the internet.
So we're gonna get obviously Vision and WandaVision first, and then probably Winter Soldier and
yes,
those folks, and then probably Loki.
Yeah, that's the order as far as I know.
Oof. I love it.
They're making me wait.
They're having so much fun with these characters that
Yeah, I mean, I think that they also noticed, but even you were talking about fan service, and I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but I think I remember at the end of Thor 2, I can't remember what it's called. It was not one of my favorite Marvel movies. Loki dies.
Yeah.
And then, like, right at the end, they have that little snippet that's to show that he's, shifting as the king. Yeah. But I almost remember that he was supposed to die. And it was like... and then they were like, the fans are actually going to be really upset. Let's just bring him back.
Of course, he's like everyone's favorite chaotic king.
Anti-hero. He's not a villain.
I was
Not a villain. I'll defend him.
I was reading this old comic, like old from like 1960s, and like he was just like he just wanted to like mess with Thor, and so he just made everything around Thor like candy, just because he knew Thor would get annoyed. And I was just like, I love him.
Typical.
So
I know.
chaotic.
And he's not actually a villain. Okay, maybe he's murdered a few people, but it was kind of an accident, I guess. And he's more of an anti-hero.
Just a kind of an accident, I guess. My boy Phil Coulson is dead on the ground, but kind of an accident, I guess.
I mean, shame. He had a troubled childhood.
Okay.
Don't get me started. Like, I'll defend him like tooth and nail. I'm not reasonable. I'm not a reasonable, rational person when it comes to him. As you can see, my 2-year-old child knows him by name, and she's never seen the movie.
Okay. Before we knock off, I just wanted to do this with you. I just want to do a little bit of a would you rather. So I just want to ask you this one: Tom Hiddleston or Mika?
Oh no, that's too easy. That's too easy. You see. The problem is that I've never loved Mika in that way. My love for Mika is very familial. I'll protect him. I feel like I'm his mother in a way. Tom Hiddleston's a different story, my good lady. So in that case, yes, Tom Hiddleston. Had you put him up against Elodie, I might have hesitated for a second.
I should have put him up against Elodie. Oh my god.
Good boy wearing his good masks every day. Oh, I
would actually disown you if you had picked Elodie over Hiddleston. No.
Hiddleston's the one. Hiddleston's endgame. Elodie's just the distraction. While Hiddleston's been quiet.
That's actually that was actually all I wanted to ask you, but I mean
Excellent. My favorite question.
But thank you so much for...
Thank you for having me.
For doing this. This has been so much fun. And as
I had a good time. I could probably talk to you forever, but I don't think listeners would want that.
Yeah, no, we should have another call just to talk about like fandom.
Just for us, yeah. Please, and we can put our videos on, and I'll wear my gown, and we can have coffee.
Yeah, I think gowns.
We'll feel like old friends just meeting up.
But
oh damn.
But yeah, no, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
That was our interview with Shameez. You can find her at Shams04 on Twitter and at ThisIsASham04 on Instagram. You can engage with her about all things fangirl-ish. She's always ready, and you can always see what she's into. She makes it very clear, and she's just such a fun person to converse with. I've been following her for a while, and that's why I got her on the podcast. I mean, we have a lot of similar interests, but she also can educate me on so much. So, if you're looking for someone to follow who is in the thrust of things, give her a follow. But before we head out for this week, what have you been crushing on, Rebecca?
I haven't watched a lot, but I don't know if you could go through this week without seeing something about the US elections.
Oh my
and to be honest with you, the way I learned about the US elections and who had won is through memes, like on Instagram. I didn't see a speech. I didn't watch anything on CNN, but it's literally Quentin Quarantino revealed the news to me. I don't know if you know that Instagram handle.
No, is that a meme?
No, you don't. Oh, it's so good. You would love it. But yeah, the US elections. I mean,
God, is literally all I've been watching this week. Like, I want to give you some, like, oof, I've been watching this art house movie. But girl, all I've been watching is CNN. I don't know if I have cabin fever, if it's the quarantine or factor, but like, I am head over heels in love with the CNN reporters. And know they're low-key problematic. Most of them are white.
yeah.
Most of them it's something that's like probably like makes fascists seem okay.
Yeah, somehow.
But
exactly.
I know they're giving me eye contact, they're pointing at maps, they are making side jokes. They're just like, they're giving me all the things that I haven't gotten in a long time. And I'm just like, I need this love and validation from you, Chris Cuomo, you Jake Tapper, you Anderson Cooper, you Don. Please, I love you so much. I just need some to, like, I don't know what's, I wrote a newsletter on Saturday. It was just, it's not even, my newsletters are usually me just like musing about thoughts and feelings and emotions and whatever's going on in my head. My newsletter was ranking of the hottest CNN.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it was. I couldn't pretend that I've been thinking about anything else.
Yeah. So wait, let me get this straight. It's not the content specifically that you've been crushing on. It's more so like this huge election.
I'm glad that Joe Biden won. Obviously.
Okay.
I'm glad that Joe Biden won in comparison to Donald Trump.
Okay. And Kamala Harris being the freaking first female vice president.
I'm glad about the Democrats winning. I mean, it's a lot. It's much better than the Republicans. I mean, it's not ideal, but I mean, it's better than the Republicans. But I mean, the CNN report is like, after they announced that they won, I was still watching. I wanted to hear the little jokes. I was 2 o'clock this morning. What was I doing? Watching CNN, because CNN is now my safe space. I got to stop watching. I've got to do other things in my life. But like, I'm not you. I am glad about, and as I've said, I'm glad about the election. I'm glad about who won. I'm glad that we don't have to deal with Trump anymore. I'm glad that they can join the Paris Accords again. They can join WHO. They can
all the
that they should be doing in this world as the richest country. They should be helping people.
Yeah.
Someone who has worked for NGOs and has seen what happens when the USA cut funding for these kind of things in the third world and how important that election is, I am happy at the... So yes.
And in parallel to that...
I'm in love.
You are.
With about 3 to 4 CNN reporters.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go through a bad breakup soon. And please send chocolate, lactose-free chocolate for support.
I'll send you some. But don't you think that says something about like news channels in the US? The fact that Fox is so far on the other end of the spectrum, and then you've got CNN. They're supposed to be, I guess, objective and unbiased, but at the same time, we don't have to add this to the podcast, by the way. But don't you find that interesting? Like,
you should watch the movie Network. Very interesting. But also, I do think that the problem is not necessarily the news. I mean, I think that Fox is definitely a problem. I think the problem is the radicalization of the Republican Party.
Okay.
I think that the Republican Party, my view is that before maybe the mid-70s, the Republican Party was the party of more like the rich people. So they weren't that different from the Democrats. They just cared more about like taxes and like those kind of bills. Yeah. So if you were a CNN or an unbiased news source, you could sort of be in the middle, because there would be stuff with the Republicans you would agree with. And there would be
now
stuff
you're going to balance it.
You agree with, but then there will be stuff with the Democrats you agree with, and there was stuff you wouldn't agree with. So you can have different people on the same problem. But the problem is that in the 1950s, when the Christian evangelicals got when they started to get them into the Republican, and the Republican became more about religion. That's when the problem became, because then they started becoming about race. They started becoming about against Muslims and Jews, and maybe not necessarily Jews, but more Muslims. Against immigrants, against poor people. I mean, they probably were technically against poor people in the beginning, but it wasn't as blatant as it is now. Which means that to stand in the middle means that you're giving a voice to a very problematic voice. Whereas, like, I think now it's difficult to be in the middle, because when you're in the middle, you are also enabling fascism.
Yeah. So you're almost semi-leaning
so it's
to
very
the side of...
right now. So I think if the Republican Party was not as problematic.
So why do you think... Yeah.
That's sort of what I think. Sorry, it's what I think about us right now. So, I mean, the problem we are having right now in South Africa is that the DA is realizing that they aren't working, which I don't think the strategy is helping. They aren't working as a central leftist party, so they're moving more conservative. So right now, if you are a news station, if you're ENCA, you can bring both ANC and the DA on, and it's fine. You can be completely biased. You can say what you are for with the DA, and you can say what you're against. And there will be no problem in the country. I mean, yes, there'll be like loyalists who will have a problem, but most people wouldn't have a problem, because neither of them are like have very hectic policies against race, against religion, against any of those things. You bring the ANC on and you criticize certain aspects of the ANC, people will be fine with it. If you agree with certain aspects, people will be fine with it, because none of their policies are like that. But now that the DA is moving more conservative, it's becoming problematic. So the thing is, like, before, the Republicans and the Democrats were like what the DA and the ANC were like. So maybe now the DA aren't really for poor people and black people, but none of the policies say that. So you can be fine with it. That's like how the Republican Party was. So that's sort of how I feel the problem with news is that you can't be completely biased.
Be in the
because you also have to say, like, we also stand for human rights.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
Yeah. So
no, but I mean, because here's the thing: like Anderson Cooper saying something about Donald Trump being a
beast turtle.
Like that's not something you would get on a. You know what I mean? It's not your typical news standard, unbiased, no opinion, non-opinionated views. That is like so far to the extreme that you can't come back from saying something like that.
He still apologized.
CNN. Did he apologize while he was saying it?
No, afterwards he was like, I feel very bad about that because but yeah, you should watch a movie Network. It's so funny. You're gonna watch it and think that it's just like a movie of our times, but it was made in the 70s and it was sort of a satire of what news could become. But it's literally what news is.
Literally what's happening now. Wow.
So you should watch it. But I did watch today. I was watching clips from Parks and Recreation about Leslie Knope's crush on Joe Biden, man. And
oh my gosh!
I just love it
about that
so much. And like there was like I was just watching and Anne was like, "What is your ideal man?" And she's like, "He has the brains of George Clooney in the body of Joe Biden."
What?
And she was
like, I think you mix the two up.
And she's like, serious. And then then she asked that other political advisor girl, like she's like, have you met Joe Biden? And she's like, yes. She's like, oh my word, he's on my celebrity sex list. He actually is my celebrity sex list. And then they're like, and then her husband looks at her like this, man.
Yeah.
And then when he for the engagement gift, and he takes her to meet Joe Biden, and she's freaking out, and she's like touching his face, and
what is like, this like? And then, is he in there?
Yes,
is Joe Biden?
He guest starred.
What? Oh my gosh!
And then she says, like, as she's walking out, and Ben is like leading her out. She's like, she says to the Secret Service guy, she's like, "You protect him. This is good."
Fucking, I'm so gonna watch this now. Which season is this?
Just Google YouTube.
Oh, okay. No, but I'm probably just gonna watch Parks and Rec now.
But
Joe Biden.
But if you want to consume some kind of pop culture that is adjacently connected to the election or Joe Biden, I suggest just watching those clips on YouTube. Oh my gosh, brilliant. I wish Amy Poehler made an endorsement video like as Leslie Knope. I feel like she should have done that. But brilliant. But yeah, that's all from us. Me you can find at Karen Walby on Instagram, at Karen Walbys on Twitter, and sign up for my newsletter, Wilder Streams, at wilderstreams.substack.com.
The podcast can be found at Crushing On Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find more information about this and all our other episodes at our website, crushingonpodcast.com, and send any feedback to crushingonpod@gmail.com. Join our Facebook group, Crushing On Club, where we chat about the show, celebrity news, recommendations, the whole shebang. Let us know what you think about what was discussed in this week's episode by sending us a voice note or email to crushingonpod@gmail.com. The show is produced by me, Karen, and Rebecca Barches. The show is edited and engineered by Rebecca Barches. Our logo was designed by Latifa Maroof. And the show was created in partnership with IGN Africa. If you like the show, tell everyone that you can any way that you can. Keep up to date with all our episodes by subscribing to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please rate and review the episodes on Apple Podcasts, as it helps others find the show. We'll be back next week with another in-depth conversation with a pop culture lover. See you then!